Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming live on youtube.com/Secrets of the Sire, facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, and twitch.tv/Secrets of the Sire. Or you can go to secretsofthesire.com or siredigital.com and choose your platform. Tonight, we are reviewing The King, Godzilla, King of Monsters. Is it must-see or wait for cable? We discuss the newest installment. We also get to talk with TWLOHA founder, that is To Write Love on Her Arms, founder Jaime Tworkowski on the eve of mental health comedy tour. And holy Twilight, we've got a new Batman, Robert Pattinson, taking on the cape and cowl. As always, I'm your host, Michael Dolce, joined by my co-host, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir?
It's Wednesday.
It is. I know.
It's not good. It's Wednesday is like the neutral day. It's not good and it's not evil.
It really creeped up, actually. Really, this whole week has just crept up on me. I have no idea why. Maybe it was the loomingness. I don't know. See, I got nothing. I'm trying to segue into Godzilla. I got nothing.
My neighborhood's already a war zone with the fireworks thing. I mean, like these guys I guess they're practicing for 30 days from now or from yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know.
We broadcast from New York City, and we've got a parade coming.
They're planning to do something pretty spectacular, apparently. I'm not even talking about the parade. I'm talking about the local neighborhood kids.
Oh.
They're planning to do something pretty spectacular, apparently, because
so in a month from now, I'm getting a new co-host, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my building will not be here anymore when the whole thing is over, because it literally sounds like D-Day.
We will fix your studio setup. Hopefully you'll be okay. At least you didn't get attacked by a 60-foot monster. I mean, there's always that, right?
It would have been something more interesting than to kill a couple of minutes talking about fireworks, though.
Godzilla, King of Monsters.
Always something to be. It's always a silver lining. Yeah, Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
It did not do great at the box office.
No, it did not.
It didn't do bad, though. It fell under expectations.
I know, but according to everybody who's supposedly an expert in these things, it's the death knell of the whole franchise now. And the problem is, apparently they simultaneously filmed Godzilla versus King Kong, or King Kong versus Godzilla.
So I think that's actually going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, they're now everyone's now everybody's pretty much predicting that'll go straight to streaming or something like that because of how horrible Godzilla is doing on the I really think, to be honest with you, and I include us in this observation, Michael,
okay,
I don't think anybody knows what the heck they're talking about ever.
No?
Just to build up to the Captain Marvel thing and how everyone was like Captain Marvel was going to tank the MCU's first tanking, and then
sure.
Either they were dead wrong about that, or people in the backlash to that decided to make Captain Marvel a $1 billion movie.
Right.
No one really knows what they're talking about.
Right.
If you can influence people to that extent with negative coverage of a pending movie, then what do we? And I exist to kind of to frustrate you when I ask these questions about our show. But what are we doing this for? If we're supposed to be like reacting to stuff, we're not really in the speculation business, So I mean, we should just be everybody should just be talking about Godzilla and not about Godzilla versus King Kong. That's a year away, and anything can happen in a year, right?
No, yeah, there's definitely that. I also think that. I think it's almost impossible for people to separate the meta qualities of this now. I mean, you have to almost consider the future of the franchise as you're watching a movie if the movie itself is not compelling enough in and of itself to warrant anything further than that. You know what I mean? So full disclosure, I'm not a huge Godzilla guy. I enjoy it. I enjoy the campiness of the old movies, but I was never a big monsters guy. Even King Kong, like, I remember watching Peter Jackson's version of it, and I thought it was scary as hell. I hated when they got eaten by the bugs. That's my own personal fright. But
yeah, I don't think there's too many people.
No, there's like some people that think they dig horror, man. They dig all that stuff. Like,
I mean, yeah, I'm just talking about like, okay, but I'm just talking about getting eaten by bugs. I don't know if you're unique in that.
No, I agree.
Nightmare.
I agree. So I kind of went into this. I would not have seen this movie if we were not going to review it. I mean, hands down, I would have. I enjoyed myself, but I did walk out of there again in a mostly empty theater at this point too. Now again, it didn't do horrible. It still captured number one. Kind of, we mentioned that it captured number one at the box office. Just didn't do what it expected to do. However, this article from Film School Rejects says Godzilla King of Monsters not only sold fewer than half as many tickets as its 2014 precursor, it also had a worse opening than the 1998 Godzilla. So I guess adjusting for inflation, it was a big disappointment.
Yeah.
When you are going to
I kind of know why. We'll get into that.
Well, why? Why? We don't have to wait.
It's
I thought the marketing for this was really good. And I thought the buzz around the movie was really good too. So I'm kind of surprised by
but like kaiju movies don't seem to do very well. Like the Pacific Rim is a perfectly serviceable movie conceptually. Yeah. When you see the promo ads and everything for it, you're like, oh well, yeah, I don't know why this doesn't. If Transformers explodes like that, of course, Bumblebee didn't do as well as they had hoped either.
Sure,
but if the other Bayformers movies were monsters, and to be fair, the last Bay Transformers movie underperformed, which is why they rebooted it. So it might just be that we're past the giant spectacle, the giant robot spectacle. But you would think that during the reign of those Bay movies, Pacific Rim would have been an easy, would have been able to slide in that market very easily.
Yeah.
For some reason, nobody cared about monsters coming out of the ocean and people getting in big robots and fighting them. Now that is up my alley. That is absolutely, absolutely exactly where I wish every movie would go. I wish romance comedies would turn into giant monster movies.
Giant monsters coming out of the
Meg Ryan, running around in a giant robot to beat the crap out of some monster. That would be my idea of Sleepless in Seattle with a lot of monsters.
Here's the problem, right? Okay, well, that is awesome. Here's the funny thing about this movie, right? And here's, I think, what the ultimate problem was. The ultimate problem was, just like you said, I don't think anybody cares enough now. I mean, a giant monster coming out of the ocean to crush people. Unfortunately, we've seen it now. We've seen the special effects. I got to be honest, though. I was blown away by the CGI in this movie. I actually enjoyed myself. I really enjoyed. My dad and I kind of enjoyed ourselves.
The ability to see Ghidorah or Ghidra, depends on how you pronounce it. I mean, the hardcore fans will try to hang you for pronouncing that incorrectly. But the ability to see Ghidorah finally, sorry Japan, but finally with actual purpose, those three heads instead of just a rubber suit where the heads just whip around, which is awesome. Excuse me, that's the whole reason we love those movies. And Rodan. And Mothra. Mothra looks fantastic. I mean, they really did a lot of they used a lot of their power to really bring forward the majesticness of a creature, of a giant butterfly. What that looked like. And Godzilla, of course, everybody said he was kind of a little chubby. Looks like maybe a little Jenny Craig for Godzilla.
It was cute.
But it was fine. I mean, Godzilla was appropriately awesome. Whenever he showed up, you were like, all right, Godzilla's about to step on somebody, and it's going to be, it's going to be awesome. That's really not the issue. It's the beauty of it. I think And I don't know. We're heading into speculation territory about why it's not doing as well. The simple answer to that is just that it's not, the market is not open for it.
Well, no, but it's not that. I think it really comes down to, we've seen all this stuff before. There's not enough.
We've seen superhero movies before.
No, hang on. There's not enough of a cult love for these additional on-screen monsters, which is what you kind of mentioned. Godzilla versus Rodan, Mothra, and King Ghidorah. I'm not even gonna bother trying to pronounce that.
Ghidra. Yeah.
Ghidra. I don't even. I know who Mothra is, just because I've heard the name before. But even someone such as myself, who peripherally knows this, it's like hockey. This is like hockey in the sports. To give it a sports analogy, right? Like, I know of hockey. I root for the Rangers because my sister's a big Ranger fan. But there are just people who are diehard Ranger fans or diehard hockey fans. I'm looking at you, Joel Mulvey. But hockey is always going to be that fourth rung to the basketball, football, and baseball. It's just never going to be, that big thing. Now, there are exceptions to this. Last year, in the hockey world, there was a Cinderella story. A new team opened up in Las Vegas. Las Vegas had never had a hockey team. And these guys, in their first year, were about to do something they never had done before, which is an expansion team winning the Stanley Cup in its first year. Never happened. It was a big story, and it drove ratings up. In 94, the Rangers hadn't won a Stanley Cup in 54 years. In baseball, in 2016, the Cubs hadn't won a World Series in God knows how long. The Red Sox, when you present something on top of just, here's a baseball game, here's a hockey game, you're bound to get more of an audience. And so what I'm driving at is the villains that he was facing in this movie, while appealing to any diehard Godzilla fan, is not enough for me to be like, well, I got to go see this. Now, I'll tell you what I will go see and be kind of excited about: Godzilla vs. King Kong, which is next year. And spoiler alert, obviously, but that's not really a spoiler alert because the movie has literally been announced and released. The announcement has already been made, and like you said, they filmed it concurrently. I am excited about that because that's something I haven't seen. That's like giving me an extra storyline. Oh, Godzilla vs. King Kong. I wonder how they're going to do that. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie too, to the point where I'm like, oh, they won't mess that up. It'll be a good movie. So
right.
I just think that's what it is. I think monsters are, it's the same thing. What did they try to do? They tried to create the Monsterverse with the Frankenstein and Dracula and, all that stuff. I mean,
shared universes are not, look, it is a unique niche that people have not been able to duplicate. I don't even think EU would be able to be the MCU, excuse me, today.
Yeah.
It's a market that they invented, and they dominate, dominate with a lot of quality and a lot of intelligence.
But also, think about it. They don't give us. They do give us an Iron Man movie every year, but they actually stopped giving us Iron Man movies. They stopped giving us traditional Thor movies. Even
that's why the MCU people keep wondering why the MCU product is so viable.
So then
because they have an entire universe to pick from. Every time people get tired of Spider-Man, they could just jump to Iron Man, or they could jump to Thor, or they could. In the first few phases.
Yeah.
So who knows? Hopefully they'll be able to capture the same imagination of the people with Phase 4.
Right.
We don't know. We honestly don't know. And there's already petitions and stuff to bring Tony Stark back as intelligent as those petitions.
I'm sick of petitions.
So am I. So am I. We're in dangerous territory because we agree.
It's bad for the show.
But it's really bad for the show. It's bad for both of us. It's bad for everything. But they have such a pool of resources to pull from. If you're going to try to do like Sony tried to do a shared universe with just Spider-Man, you can only pick from Spider-Man's villains. You can only make Spider-Man villain movies. Because you don't have it. That's not a huge resource of material to pull from. Not to pull a universe. You could do a series out of it, but you can't do a shared universe out of it.
Yeah.
So DC would be the only ones in any kind of shape to compete with that. And of course, DC is they don't believe in designing. They don't believe in building foundations for their houses before they start putting up the walls.
Right.
Every time the slightest gust of wind will knock their little universe over. And it's too bad. It really is too bad. I mean,
Set
we've had
aside,
MCU had a shaky start with the Hulk movie,
well,
and you know,
yeah,
it wasn't set in stone. It wasn't perfect. It
yeah.
wasn't meant to be. They really had to work and prove themselves. It's not
Well,
like
they were
everybody was
inventing something too. I mean, that's the thing. Anytime you're inventing something,
Yeah, I mean, I say that all the time about like content when we try to provide content.
yeah.
I say like, wow, man, back in the '70s. I mean, knowing what we know now,
Hmm.
the entire all the territory is fertile. It's
Yeah,
all virgin
yeah.
territory. And nowadays, man, there's so much content we can't even watch TV shows.
No.
There's too many TV shows to watch. I mean, we
Yep.
are oversaturated with
Yep.
entertainment.
It's a natural cycle. I mean, conventions are going through this now, where Comic-Cons were a huge thing, 10 years ago, where, even 5 years ago, where it kind of peaked. And now there's a convention every weekend in every single town using the Comic-Con name,
Definitely.
not as a brand, but as a name, trying to ape off the brand to where people are kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go to this one. I mean, there's a definitive reason, you know, exhibitors are losing money because it's a cycle. It's look at what we can do. Look at the money we can make. Let's all try to do this. Let's all try to copy what they're doing. But it all comes down to the inspiration of let's try to make the money off of this versus let's make something authentic and unique that will also make money. I think
Definitely with the conventions, there is a seen one, seen them all kind of
yeah.
attitude at
But
this point.
is that a good? I mean, it's actually a funny way to mention that. Is that kind of what Godzilla King of the Monsters is? Is it? I've seen one. I've seen it all. I thought it offered a lot of cool things, a lot of cool visuals. I'm really glad I saw it in the theater. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much if I'm sitting at home. I do have a nice size TV at home, but there was something about this movie sitting in a theater I thought was great.
I will say that honestly, the appeal to this would just be to see high-end quality versions of these creatures. Because we've seen Godzilla. We had seen Godzilla, a CG Godzilla, but we've seen two of them, and one of them was abysmal, from the Roland Emmerich Godzilla from the mid-'90s, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we'd seen the Gareth Edwards CG Godzilla in 2014, which actually, a lot of people applauded it. It honestly did well. People appreciated it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a bastardization. Oh my God, I couldn't say that word. It wasn't a bastardization of the Godzilla franchise. It honestly felt authentically Godzilla. So I could say that if there was any kind of marketing appeal, if you were going to ask me in an elevator pitch, what's the marketing appeal of this one? It's to do the same thing for Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan that we did for Godzilla in 2014. We fully realized in as hyper realistic life as humanly possible with with the availability of today's technology, and that would be it. To see these creatures come to life like that, and as you say, even as a casual fan,
mm-hmm.
it was gorgeous. Footage to watch all this stuff, and that is not the complaint I would have about this movie. I think when I walked out of that film, I thought it was an incredibly intelligent script, an incredibly intelligent premise.
Yeah.
Worked out in intricately built world building, really, really thought-provoking. And then I in my mind, a studio producer came along and took a red pen to all of it and dumbed down all the dialogue and made everything as as incredibly stupid as possible. There was a lot of expository dialogue where where clearly they were on a mission to go do something, and then at least 2 or 3 people would again reiterate what they're on the mission to do. Like, oh, we're gonna go catch Godzilla. We're gonna go wake up in this really bad either over Americanized parlance or this ghetto American parlance when the diverse soldiers would start speaking, and they'd speak in this in this street patois for some reason. Like, yeah, we gonna go wake up Godzilla. We gonna go, like, oh my God.
Nice to see Ice Cube doing well though.
Yeah, well, Ice Cube's son.
I know. He looks.
He doesn't look just like him. In fact, my friend, the friend I saw the movie with last night, he told me that was Ice Cube's son. I was like, I didn't even know that was.
No,
Ice
okay, all right. Let me not offend you know, 7 out of our
Yeah,
10
man.
audience members.
Yeah, don't be the white guy that says
He
all the black guys look
resembles
alike.
him. He
He
resembles
does.
so
When I
much.
was told that was his son, I was like, oh, I see it.
You see it,
I
right?
see it right
That's
away.
my point. You
Yeah.
see it. Like, that is essentially Ice Cube. Like, it's just, you could just see it. So,
Yes, that was NWA Ice Cube. From way
yeah.
back.
I mean, that was, there's a reason they asked him to play his own father in that. Also,
Nobody
nice
looked like him.
to see Tywin Lannister dropping on his, landing on his.
Yeah, he was. I mean, and it's kind of the same situation with Christopher Lee in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else is kind of stumbling and struggling over this ham-handed dialogue, and Charles Dance just kind of Shakespeare's his way through it. Like,
Yes.
everything he says, you 100% believe immediately. Everything everybody else says is like, well, this guy's acting. You know, Godzilla's not.
Can I ask you a question? And again, my enthusiasm level for this subject is evident when I ask you this question, because I haven't really, fawned over the research. I didn't see the 2014 Godzilla, but for some reason I'm reading back, and it seems this family wasn't in 2014. Kyle Chandler and everybody. This is also,
they were not. This is a
they
new
were not, right?
Yes.
And I read that and I thought to myself, I was more confused by reading about it after the fact, that they would essentially, I thought this was a continuation story of this family, and they had lost
a continuation of Godzilla
in this family in 2014. But instead, I kind of like the boldness of doing that. But then after reading that, I'm kind of like, oh, I really thought I was watching a part 2, and you are kind of watching a part 2, but it's a
Ken Watanabe and what's her name?
Right. Sally Hawkins.
Yeah, Sally Hawkins.
Spoiler alert.
The fish lady. They were in the 2014 version.
Right. To me,
the general was in the 24. There are characters who.
Well, that's the thing that's so funny about this, right? Like,
but look, the mother was the Scarlet Witch. She's busy apparently. She's not going to be in Godzilla.
Right.
What's her name?
Elizabeth Olsen.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Yep.
And Kick-Ass. I don't know what he's doing, but
Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what he's doing right now, but
he's banging his older wife. Really, he's married to I forget which actress he's married to. I will look this up really quickly.
We don't need to know who he's banging, really.
Well, but this is again. I think this is what it comes down to. This is the inherent problem of it, right? I'm actually more curious to know who Aaron, who his.
That's your review. You'd rather look up who he's.
I'd rather look up who he's married to.
The star of the 2014 version is banging right now than to talk about the 2019 version of the iteration of the movie. I understand. That's well, I see you're putting your bid in for this being underwhelming. Apparently,
but it was fun. Like, I enjoyed it. At the same time, I'm not. It's a made for cable for me story that I'm glad I saw in the theaters, just because it the CGI was so incredible. Sam Taylor Johnson. So Sam who? No, that's the wife is Sam. Million Little Pieces director, and I'll get a full name for her. I feel like she was somebody before. Sam Taylor. Yeah, Sam Taylor Johnson. So
okay, so now we know who he's banging. I don't know why we spent time on that. But okay.
Yeah, no. I don't know. There was just something about it. It was fine. Right? Is that maybe the death knell of it? As a fan of those movies, I thoroughly enjoyed seeing those creatures brought to life. Yeah. I enjoyed the world building. I enjoyed Marnock, the invention of this, this monster monitoring organization, this kind of I like the world building aspect. Much maligned government organization that's always on the verge of being shut down, even though it's quite obvious that the world is full of monsters and you maybe should have a government organization monitoring them. I don't know why they're always in danger of being defunded, but that's just what stories. That's the strange tension that stories like to try to build. Yeah.
It doesn't. I appreciate that. I appreciate the underwater slushways where Godzilla uses. That's how he disappears.
Yeah. I
So,
like
and
bringing
then
in
when they
the
went,
Hollow Earth theory. I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah, when they went into them, they found out that it was a world
Yeah.
that had been buried, thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
That used to worship, And I like that, according to people, I've seen a lot of people say that, as soon as we found out where Godzilla lives, we blew up his apartment, just to wake him up. So all of Godzilla's possessions for the last 1,000 years are
That's right.
all scattered all over the ocean now. That's what the
that has
next
something
movie
to
is
do
going to be
between-
about. Him trying to get his flat screen back while King Kong tries to step on him.
Yeah.
But I appreciate a lot of the stuff. I thought that, like I said, it was if they had left it alone and stopped tinkering with it.
Yeah.
Seems like it was the victim of tinkering. If they left the script alone and stopped tinkering with it, it would have been a really, really, an almost too intelligent script for a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of really good layering in there, a lot of great ideas that they were fleshing out.
That would have helped with word of mouth. That would have helped with growing the box
marketing was. I'm not here to discuss why it's not doing well in the market. I have no idea. I mean, people, like you say.
No, but I know, but I'm just saying.
I'm not interested.
If I walked away from that being wowed by a more intelligent script that had something more to say, that had some sort of more relevance to where now all of a sudden, as a casual fan of monsters, I'm more interested in this world they're creating. I think absolutely. I think you would have seen.
You can't say that because there's a ton of movies that we've said that about. That this is a really great movie. It's really a brilliant script. This is a really, and then they still tank at the box office.
Yeah,
you never know what's going to capture the zeitgeist. And you never know what people are going to gravitate to.
My prediction: Dark Phoenix is going to do gangbusters. I have this feeling. Which now I've invariably given it the death wish. Given it the death.
Well, it's definitely going to do better than Godzilla, so it's going to have a better showing.
Yeah.
On Friday than Godzilla did because the last blockbuster tentpole movie that came out tanked or underperformed.
Yeah.
Didn't tank, it underperformed, and so did Shazam. So did a couple of other movies. I mean, the big winner after Endgame.
Yeah.
Has been, of course, John Wick, but also Aladdin, which everybody was making fun of. Everybody was like, this is Smith's swan song, and it comes out of the gate, and it just, stomps the box office.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, the reviewers are like, wait a minute, this is actually really good, and then word of mouth spread on that, and it was also a family-friendly movie, so, everybody finds out that it's an okay movie to take your kids to, and they come running. So, no matter what, if Dark Phoenix does better than Godzilla, it's going to be a positive spin. The entire media is going to turn around and put a positive spin on it, along with the fact that once it's performed better than expected, it's going to make a lot of people kind of want to shift track on it immediately so that they're not on the wrong side of history since they spent the last 2 years almost bad-mouthing it, right?
Yeah.
And it's been a week. It's been a month of kind of weird conclusions. People being what would you call it? People being unsure or uneasy or underwhelmed by these conclusions of things. The Game of Thrones conclusion, in some respect, the Endgame conclusion.
You think that's it? Are people just still mourning after Endgame?
No, I'm
actually think there's something to that.
I'm saying that landings are hard to stick. I
think there's something to it, though. I think there's something to being so hyper revved up for something like Endgame that when it's over, you're kind of like, all right. I mean, I was actually just thinking about 2020. What do we have to look forward to?
But that's why you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it hasn't Snoke taught you anything? Sitting there wondering who the heck Snoke is for 2 years just to have Rian Johnson cut him in half right in front of you, like he cut the 2 years you spent trying to figure out who he is in half, before your eyes.
Clearly.
Yeah. Okay. Alrighty.
All right. When we come back, we're actually going to cut to a pre-recorded interview I did with Jaime Tworkowski. He is of the To write Love on Her Arms Foundation, it's all about mental illness. It's really important. It's a really great cause. Please check it out. I did it live at Comic Strip Live in New York City, which is very iconic. I'm going to cut together. I have tons of really great shots from there as well, too. But the message is extremely, extremely important. And then we're going to talk new Batman right after that.
Do you like comic books and movies like the Avengers? How about TV or pop culture like Game of Thrones or Star Wars? Then you've come to the right place. Hi, I'm Michael Dolce, host of the Secrets of the Sire podcast. Joined every week by my co-host Hassan, Lord of the Radio Godwin, we bring you the inside scoop on the pop culture universe you love to talk about. And you never know who will drop by to chat. To date, we've welcomed actors Kevin Bacon, Paul Reiser, True Blood's Christina Anapow, and Buffy's Nicholas Brendan to the show. We've been privileged to interview rockers Chris Cornell, Macy Gray, Billy Corgan, and more. And we've even had Jackie the Joke Man himself from Howard Stern in studio to share some laughs. So join us every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on youtube.com/Secrets of the Sire for brand new episodes. Take a moment, subscribe to our channel, and be on the lookout for some major new announcements coming soon. For more info, log on to secretsofthesire.com.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talking comics, movies, TV, and pop culture. And every now and again, we get to do something really amazing and awesome and special and give back, or at least talk to folks who are giving back, which is a lot more than we do. We just talk. I am joined by Jaime Tworkowski. He is the founder of To Write Love on Her Arms. It is a nonprofit organization that is there to benefit mental health. And as you can see, we are at the Comic Strip Live in New York City for a benefit show that's going on tonight. Jaime, thank you so much for taking some time out before the big event to talk to us about your amazing organization.
Man, thank you for having me. Thank you for being here.
So give our audience out there an overview of To Write Love on Her Arms and what it's about. It's a mouthful.
I have good friends that forget the name, so it's all good.
I butcher things every week, so don't worry. Okay. As a fan of the show, you're going to realize I'm just amazed I got your name right. It's really amazing.
No, there's lots of letters. Well, we got our start in 2006 just as an attempt to help a friend back then who was struggling with the issues that show up in our mission statement today. So my friend Renee, who was a new friend at the time, was dealing with depression, addiction, self-injury, had attempted suicide, and I had the privilege of telling part of her story after she was denied entry into a treatment center in Orlando, and posted that story online on MySpace back in 2006.
Oh boy.
And heard very quickly from people in so many places who just shared that they could relate to her story, to her struggles, to the sadness, the confusion, people asking for help, people who had lost loved ones, people asking how to get involved, how to learn, how to do more. And so we've been inviting people into this conversation for the last 13 years. And we've been able to set up a nonprofit, and now it's not just me, there's a whole team of us. And
you've been at it for a while. I mean, 2006 is I mean, it's scary to me. It's a long time. I mean, you've been doing this now for 13 years and growing. How did it really pick up? Like, what was the tipping point where you realized you had something that reached so many people?
I mean, we had such a surprising beginning in terms of we had attention. We were selling T-shirts before there was even the thought of starting a charity. So I try to point out the amount of privilege, just what a unique beginning we had. So then it took some time just to get caught up and to get organized and to put people around me, and thankfully we were able to do those things, to build a team. But you mentioned the support of the music community, the connection to music early on and even since, that so many of these artists were quick to be generous with their platform, at times literally, to wear our shirts on stage, and so that put us in front of people right away, and then people found their way to the story, to the MySpace page, eventually to our website, and we've just been able to encourage people, connect people to resources, and also to give financially to treatment and counseling ever since then.
Wow, that's tremendous. Talk to us about the show tonight.
you know, obviously this is airing after the show is going to take place, but what a great thing. You have Joe Matrice headlining this. He's a fantastic comedian. How did you get involved with Comic Strip Live, and how did you get Joe involved?
So this was not my idea or our idea. We're super honored that we were asked to be a part of it. You know, so we know this is personal in terms of mental illness, suicide specifically for Joe and for the other folks who are going to be on stage tonight. That it's not just a hypothetical, it's not just an issue that exists, but for them, they know what it is to lose someone to suicide. We find that's often true when there are benefit events or just people that care and want to get involved, that it is personal for them. And so, you know, we're super thankful, and we were happy to make the trip up when, you know, Joe talked about wanting us to benefit, and obviously knowing the history of this room and what a special venue this is, it's really amazing. I think for us as an organization, it's our first event of its kind in terms of the realm of comedy, and we've seen so many surprising doors open, and so tonight is kind of another one where it's not something we had on a 5-year plan, or it's not something we can take credit for. It's just, I think, another reminder that people in so many places, so many lines of work, young, old, in America, outside of America, people are touched by these issues, and they want to speak up. They want to use, you know, whatever platform they have. And so tonight it's Joe and these other folks doing it, and we're happy to be in the room.
Your guys' mission statement is almost like that of a connector, right? I mean, you guys are kind of the bridge connecting people that might not be able to get treatment for mental illness to people that can help them, right? I mean, I mean, it sounds like such an arduous task, and I actually think it's so amazing that you can do that. Give us an example of that. I would love to know, you know, something that sticks out in your mind as something memorable that your organization has helped kind of done, even if it's the tiniest thing or the first person. I'm sure you got a ton of stories.
I mean, I think just it's everything from social media, someone stumbling upon a tweet, you know, late at night. It's someone picking up an info card at the Warped Tour or at a music festival or a conference. For me, sometimes it's speaking on a college campus. And we hear all those different examples of how people are first introduced to the organization. We also just hear the simple story of someone noticing the words on a t-shirt and asking someone, hey, what does that mean? And then the coolest thing is just that it often leads to that person ending up on our website, and whether it's reading the blogs, whether it's learning more about the issues, or maybe I think the thing that gets us the most excited is when people end up in our Find Help section and can enter their zip code and connect with local resources within their community, and it ends up, you know, leading to someone sitting with a counselor, stepping into treatment, sending a text to crisis text line, and finally inviting other people, even professionals, to enter into that pain. And you know, I get to meet people who say they're still alive because of the work that we do, and so that has a way of keeping us going. That has to be very sobering and also gratifying at the same time. You know, we experience both ends of the spectrum, where there's memorial donations that come in when a family loses someone to an overdose or to suicide, but we also meet people who say they're getting help, their life is better, their life is different, their life continues, and both have a way of reminding you what's at stake.
So turning back to the venue that we're at, the Comic Strip Live, it's a famous comedy club in New York City. For anybody who is visiting New York City, obviously take a stop here if you can, take a show, and it's an amazing place to go catch some great comedians. Laughter, comedy, it's a natural antidote to the kind of stuff that you're dealing with, right?
And I think, you know, I was thinking about, we've done a lot in the realm of music, and we often talk about the idea that music is allowed to be honest, that we can go to a concert and sing along to a lyric that feels true, that might be difficult to say the same words over coffee. And I think the same is true in this environment, where, you know, these men and women can get up on that stage and talk about pretty much anything and make us laugh and point out, you know, these truths. And I think the common thread we hope exists is where, man, if they can talk about this stuff in the context of comedy, if songwriters can do it with music, what if we could talk about our pain and our feelings and our struggles in everyday life? It's
funny you mentioned that too, and I want to touch on the music angle of what you guys do. I was
honored and fortunate, unfortunately also at the same time, to have interviewed Chris Cornell a few months before his passing. And, you know, a hero of mine growing up in music, and, you know, his lyrics were always kind of hinting at something darker. But, you know, my co-host and I, we always talk, we said, you know, we never figured it was him. I'm sure you run into that, though, a lot with the people you help, though. It's people that on the surface probably don't appear to have these kind of, you know, this kind of illness inside them, and until it comes out, right?
Yeah, and I think that's true no matter who your heroes are, no matter what your interests, you know, whether you follow sports, music, entertainment, you know, comedy. These are issues that affect people.
Yeah.
And you could pretty much put a period there in terms of whether you're successful or not, whether you're visible or not, you know, in terms of like platform or influence. We just see across the board, this is part of being human. And I think the disarming, refreshing thing in that is the hope that we can all just not fake it, and we can just say, hey, man, if life is hard for Chris Cornell, for Robin Williams, for the list goes on, then it's maybe okay to say that life is hard for my friends and for me as well.
How does one help? I mean, how do you, besides reaching out to you, and I want to make sure that you get your information about, you know, your site out there as well too. But before that, just on a smaller level, how does one, you know, is there warning signs? Is there something that we should be looking for in our friends that maybe you've come across in your time doing this? Yeah,
I think even looking at depression can affect so many aspects of life, and when we know someone, we have the best head start in having some idea when someone is off, right? Because when you know someone's normal, you know how often you see them, how often you hear from them, you know what their texts read like. And so if something changes, I think we love to encourage people just to, even if you don't know what to say something, and to keep showing up and to keep being compassionate. I have a counselor friend who talks about the need of balancing honesty with compassion. And so honesty is being willing to ask that hard question or to say that hard thing, express that concern. And then obviously compassion just means making sure they know that we love them. And you can't control someone taking you up on your advice. You could make the perfect speech and it doesn't mean it breaks through. But we can control continuing to show up and continuing to care, and then also knowing that we don't have to be the final solution. You know, if you broke your arm, I couldn't fix it, but I could get you to the hospital where they know how to fix arms.
Right, that makes sense. So after tonight's event, what's the next big event that people can find you at?
So we're coming upon our biggest time of the year, which for us is World Suicide Prevention Day, which is September 10th every single year. And so for about a month leading up to that, it's our biggest campaign. And there's a fundraising element, there's t-shirts that we sell, but I think more than that, we just love that it starts conversations and it gives people the chance to be vulnerable and also to just talk about why this matters, why this is personal to them. And then at the end of September in Orlando, we do our annual event, which is a night of music, of storytelling. Everyone leaves with a list of resources, and that's a night called Heavy and Light. So September is the biggest month of the year for us. So we're kind of gearing up. And then short of that, we spend a lot of time on the road in the summer, a lot of music festivals across the country.
I'm always finding a new
That's
picture.
amazing. Tell everyone out there how they can help, where they can go to contribute to your great cause.
So our website is the acronym for the organization. It's TWLOHA.com. You can find more information about how to get involved. You can find blogs, people sharing parts of their story. We would love to invite you there. I love to tell people it could be as small as buying a t-shirt. It could be as big as moving to Florida and joining our team, and a whole bunch of ways in between. So thank you.
Jamie, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
All right, great. When we come back, more Secrets of the Sire. Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. Again, I want to thank Jamie Tremendous interview. I want to thank Comic Strip Live for housing us there to do the interview. If you want to go check out to write love on her arms, it's a moving story. It's a touching story. Jamie touches the lives of so many people in such a great way. You can go check them out on Facebook, To Write Love on Her Arms, twitter.com/TWLOHA, Instagram, it's Jaime Tworkowski, TWORKOWSKI. Go check it out. There's, again, just a really, really great guy, really great cause. Please go ahead and check it out. And they will be doing, as Jamie had mentioned in the interview, he'll be doing the big stuff coming in September. They'll be working with a lot of different bands and stuff. And last week was their comedy tour. So really, really awesome stuff. All right, we do this every week. We go spinning the racks.
Spin the rack, spin that rack.
It's official. Robert Pattinson is the Batman. As reported by Deadline, the 33-year-old English actor of Twilight fame.
English actor.
English. Okay, well, either way, this Englishman beat out Dark Phoenix star Nicholas Hoult, who was a heavy frontrunner for the role to become the next Batman in Matt Reeves' The Batman. It is going to be focusing on a younger Batman. That's why he won the role.
Apparently.
Well,
they're going to do Batman Year One, I guess, or maybe, probably.
Well, I mean, it's funny. It's like a younger Batman. I guess younger than Ben Affleck, but that's why Ben Affleck is not in it. But meanwhile, like Robert Pattinson's 33, so I don't know how young they're going to go.
It's younger than Ben Affleck, I guess.
Apparently, before we get into the reaction, of course, the work that it took to actually audition. So it was him and Nicholas Hoult, and they had dueling audition tapes. So director Matt Reeves, who picked Twilight star over Nicholas Hoult, is said to have screen tested both actors in a batsuit from a previous Caped Crusader film. 2 weeks ago, a black jacket-clad Robert Pattinson faced flashbulbs and reporters when he was talking about The Lighthouse. When one guest approached him at the reception and said, "I heard you were the new Batman," he offered only a sly smile and stayed mum. In reality, Pattinson was not the Caped Crusader just yet. Hours after his cons duty were over, he was on a plane to Los Angeles to face perhaps the biggest test of his acting career, putting on a batsuit for director Matt Reeves. So it came down to what they looked like in a suit, I guess. Right? I mean, that's basically what this article said.
No, but they said they filmed sequences with them, right?
Yeah.
They actually. So I mean, I guess it came down to how they looked in the suit, but I more think it's probably how they were able to move around and act in the suit. You know, because that's going to be a big deal. That's going to be
Reeves is said to have spent hours poring over the two actors' work and met with them in April. Pattinson obviously has far more name recognition.
Mm-hmm. But Nicholas Hoult was a superhero. He is a luminary in the superhero genre for the last couple of years. So ever since X-Men First Class, so he's been around a while doing
According to this article from Hollywood Reporter, Christian Bale, before landing Batman Begins, performed his test in the suit used by Val Kilmer. So apparently, this is a tradition now of putting on the Batsuit. How do they embody the character? How did their eyes look and act? Is there a specialness to them? Those are the questions Reeves.
Too bad I didn't do that for Christian Bale.
They had to do it for Christian Bale. Yeah.
Too bad they didn't.
No, they did.
He just looked terrible in that suit. I hated that cowl. I've never had anything good to say about those Batman movies. So.
What's your reaction to Robert Pattinson?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I'm very upset it's not Ben Affleck because whatever you want to say about his acting or whatever you want to say about those movies, that was one of my favorite Batman.
Tremendous, right?
Yeah. And now, DC.
What was your reaction, though, when you heard Ben Affleck was going to be Batman?
It's the same. I stopped reacting to stuff like that because Heath Ledger, I was one of the whole. I actually said when Heath Ledger got cast as the Joker.
Yeah.
I said he must be brilliant in it.
Yeah.
You know? Because that's such an unorthodox choice that the only reason you would make a choice like that. It's not a political choice. It's not going to get you a lot of popularity. The only reason you would make a choice like that is if you looked at his auditions or he looked at what he was doing with the character and said, "This is brilliant. I got to have him in the movie." And it turned out I was right. He was absolutely built. He's the best thing as far as I'm concerned. Not a big fan of those movies. I still think that's the best Joker we ever got.
What is it about the Bat franchises? You're right. What is it about the Bat franchises that when you make an unorthodox choice, it tends to work out versus what you would consider a safe choice? George Clooney, I would consider a safe choice. Val Kilmer, I would consider a safe choice.
Michael Keaton wasn't a safe choice.
Exactly. Michael Keaton wasn't.
An obvious
Ledger
choice.
wasn't. I mean, there are so many instances where they've made these unorthodox choices.
Because the unsafe choices are people that already had to prove themselves, which is why they're in the franchise.
Yeah.
The George Clooney probably didn't have to prove himself. They took a look at him as like, this guy looks great. He'll make a great Bruce Wayne. He'll look great, and then we'll model a Batman suit around him.
Yeah,
so it can look good. Because a lot of directors are like, it's just a suit. So we'll get a tailor in here. We'll lock him down. We'll put some snazzy stuff on him, and he'll be as great as George Clooney is, but in a Batman suit. Same as Val Kilmer. But everybody else had to fight for the role. Everybody else had to come along and prove it. It's like, Michael Keaton, you want to be Batman? Prove to me you could be Batman. And as far as I'm concerned, next to Affleck, they really haven't had a Batman like Michael Keaton.
I agree.
It hasn't.
Affleck was so. I mean, he really was shockingly so good as Batman, and he looked good in the suit too.
And he was terrifying. He was like,
I know.
You're looking at like if this guy just showed up in the room, and he's all beefed out. He's also doing the Dark Knight, the Frank Miller Batman, which everybody loves.
Yes.
If he showed up in a room and you were caught doing something, illegal, let's just say, you'd be worried for yourself. You'd feel that you were screwed. I don't know.
This is a good question for you. Good question. When all is said and done, who will have the better Bat career, Affleck or Pattinson?
The better Bat career.
The better, we will judge their work as Batman the best.
Well, I don't know. I haven't seen Pattinson's.
I know. That's what I'm asking. This is you predicting. I want your fortune teller hat on.
Didn't we just have this conversation about speculation?
I know, but it's what fuels those YouTube hits. Subscribe, like us, subscribe. No, but seriously.
Stay away from us. I'm going to do reverse psychology. Stay away from us. We don't want you. We don't want you.
Just don't tell us don't subscribe. No, but who, all said and done, Affleck, Pattinson, who's going to be the better Batman? Who's going to give the better Batman the better Bat performance when all is said and done?
I guess by law of averages, by the science that we were just talking about, it's going to have to be Pattinson because it is the absolute unorthodox choice to make. It's not something that's going to excite your fan base, right? So it has to be a judgment on the merit of his performance, and not a gig that they gave that the studio said, we want Patterson's really hot right now, so we want him to be your Batman, because he's not. He hasn't been seen in quite a while. That's the funniest
thing, right? He has been taking a lot of unorthodox movie roles since.
Wouldn't you?
Twilight.
Like if you were?
No, I agree. I don't.
And also, if you could sustain yourself on it, you'd stay away from the fanfare. I mean, he did What was it? The Elephants movie.
Yeah.
Name of that movie. Oh man, and I actually enjoyed that movie. I enjoyed it mostly because Christoph Waltz is in it, and I think he's probably one of the most brilliant actors I've ever seen. But he did a good job in it. And everything I've seen him, and I'm not actually really that down on the Twilight movies. They are what they are. You know, they're entertainment for what they are. So I wouldn't count him out just because he was part of Twilight, and that he he's taken on a character that's very much maligned in our pop culture. He's obviously an actor. He started out in Harry Potter. He's got some bona fides, that is pretty worthwhile. So let's see what he does. But I'm very disappointed that Affleck is gone. That's how I feel about it. I'm very disappointed they're moving away from that. I wanted an Affleck movie.
I know.
I got to see him twice, which is great. It's more than I thought I would get. I got to see it even in.
Oh yeah, I guess you could count Justice League. I didn't even think about Justice League. Horrible.
Yeah, Well,
Last question though for you: do we need another Bat? Okay, I'm going to say, do we need?
come on.
I'm going to get. Do we want another Batman movie?
Of course we do.
We do.
Well, we'll find out.
Batman's the most often portrayed character besides Spider-Man in the movies. Spider-Man had 3, 5, 6, 7 solo films. Batman has also had 7. This will be 8. And I'm counting Far From Home. So Batman will be the most often utilized character. I mean, weren't we just saying with the MCU, one of the strengths is they don't keep giving you the same things? Like, even Spider-Man continues.
Technically, this is not going to be the same thing because I mean, you could judge all the Batman by who's played Batman. They haven't been. There hasn't been any 2 Batman movies that have been the same, even when the same actor is playing them. Because if you look at Batman versus Batman Returns, 2 very different movies. With 2 very different reactions to it.
I think that goes without saying.
Or if you look at The Dark Knight next to Dark Knight Rises, there is a marked difference in the atmosphere of those movies. Let's not even talk about quality. Let's just talk about just the atmosphere and the tone of those movies. There's a marked difference in it. So it's really hard to duplicate the Batman thing. You could give us another Batman movie, but it is going to be different on a lot of fundamental levels in comparison to the other Batman movies that we've already gotten.
We can only hope. All right, comment in the fields, in the comment fields. If you're watching us on Twitch, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on Facebook, hit us up at secretsofthesire.com, facebook.com/secretsofthesire. I want to give a shout out to all of our patrons as well, too. I just don't think I forgot you, which I almost did, but I didn't because here you are. You're here. Craig Caruso, Einar Peterson, Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai, Omar Morales, Program Director Stephanie Dolce, Uber fan Christina Dolce. I want again to thank our guest, Jaime Tworkowski. Next week, we are going to be doing our Dark Phoenix review. Goodbye to the Fox franchise. It is the last Fox franchise
that you've already predicted will be a blockbuster, so Fox is just going to mess themselves up.
I think it's going to be really good. Because New Mutants has never seen the light of day, so I think this is it. This is it. All right, we will see you next week.
Secrets of the Sire.